So we go back to Janet Napolitano from yesterday.
Under oath, here is what she said.
And
yes?
Yeah.
Here's what go ahead. Is she?
Yes.
She's
right here.
She's right over there.
He was not on a watch list. What happened is this student was really, when you back it out, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Stop for a second. Just again, want to point out that everyone at the Boston Marathon was at the wrong place at the wrong time. The only one they would have, and this is not what she's doing, the only one that they would have put on a watch list is this guy. That's the only one you put on the watch list. Everybody else in the hospital. Did you put everyone on the watch list? Why would you do that other than, well, he was an Arab? Explain that. Explain that, Secretary Napolitano.
Never a subject. He was never even really a person of interest.
Not even a person of interest.
Because he was being interviewed, he was, at that point, put on a watch list. And
Stop, just a second. He was put on a watch list because she's going to go on to say, because the no-fly list. We want to make sure he wouldn't fly. He's currently in the hospital. We just wanted to make sure he didn't get on a plane and go back to Saudi Arabia. Now, why wouldn't you want a guy going back to Saudi Arabia that you were interviewing? If you're really concerned about this and you're saying he's not even a person of an interest, we were just interviewing him, he was close enough. Think of this. Unless you're being a racist, you're saying he was close enough. We don't think he did it. He wasn't even a person of interest, but he was a witness. We were interviewing him because he was a witness, and we certainly didn't want him to get onto a plane because he's a witness. That's what she's saying. That's what she's trying to get you to believe. All right.
then when it was quickly determined he had nothing to do with the bombing, the watch listing status was removed.
Okay, stop. Hang on just a second. Didn't you just say he wasn't under suspicion? He wasn't a suspect. He wasn't even a person of interest. But we put him on the watch list. But then once we determined that he wasn't, we had him quickly removed. That doesn't even make sense.
Not
that
at all.
doesn't even make sense.
No.
And there's no one in the media, and believe me, you people in the media are really, truly criminal. You're criminal, and you should be asking, why is it my network will not report this news? You have really good reporters. Why is my network not reporting this news? There has to be an answer, and I'll bet you guys can come up with it about that fast. Why is my network not covering this news? Now, she's trying to get you to believe that this Saudi Arabian national wasn't a person of interest. They put him on a watch list because he was being interviewed. And once they discovered he wasn't involved, this person who, of course, they knew, she just said, wasn't a person even of interest, then they removed him. There's a secondary thing going on here besides a huge lie. They are counting on the fact that no one in the media will educate you on what a 2123B is. Luckily for you, the Blaze is here. What a 2123B is a designation of a dangerous terrorist. If Osama bin Laden had to have a 2123B, it means if you come across this guy, he is a known terrorist. This is not a no-fly list. To put somebody as a 2123B means this is one of the things that this comes from the Patriot Act. This is one of the things that the Patriot Act put in. And they said, well, just to streamline things, we need to be able to do that. No, you go through a court. You call the judges. No, we're not going to have time. Well, we're going to do something because a 2123B is the highest level of terrorist we can give somebody. That's the biggest warning we can put on anybody. And it's such a huge deal that it goes way beyond the airport. You won't be able to do jack because every time that if you're pulled over, it'll say 2123B. They'll know you are a terror suspect. You do not put anybody's name on there just higgledy-piggledy. This is not the watch list. This is not the, hey, he shouldn't fly. He gets a little upset in his tummy when he flies. It's nothing about the flight. This is a terrorist designation. So there is a panel of agencies that you have to go and make your case to. So instead of going to a judge, which might have a higher standard, when they wrote the Patriot Act, they said, well, if you're not going to go to a judge, then we need at least a multi-level panel sitting in front of you where you have to make your case and you have to reach a very high standard. This isn't even a grand jury because you don't get your name off of this. So you have to have a high standard. You have to go and make your case. It's not like you're standing in the hospital room and they're like, make him a 2123B. Can't do it. Can't do it. If they are doing it, then they are abusing power. So now you can charge the Secretary of Homeland Security with abuse of power. Which one do you want? Is it just perjury? Or is it abuse of power? Or is it both, Secretary? Which one is it? All right, now listen to the rest.
Yeah, that was the rest.
Oh, that was the rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now that you know where we are in this, at the top of the hour, I'm going to give you the other shoe. And unfortunately, we're more than an octopus. There's more than two shoes to drop. The first one we dropped on Monday. Today we dropped the next one. Because today we know she's admitted to lying. And she has admitted to lying by lying again. And when you see what this document, we told you that we had seen the document, we have had it, didn't have it in our hands. We've had several sources, blah, blah, blah. We have it, and I will read it to you now. Now that she has said exactly what they did, is that true? Even if she said, he's a person of not interest, but let's make sure he doesn't fly. What does the document say they said he was and what he did? Oh. And did anyone ever try to touch that document after? Did they try to go in and change anything? Delete anything? Anything like that? Coming up in just a few minutes. Also, I am... this, again, is why I said at the beginning of the show, the administration is coming undone here with this. I guess it takes... What does it take? Maybe, I'm hoping that it doesn't take more. But apparently what it takes is a few Americans getting their arms and legs blown off in a U.S. city. That's what it will take for Americans to wake up out of their slumber. Maybe. If it doesn't, you are going to pay a much higher price to wake up. But as horrible as this sounds, maybe this is the only pain we have to have. It sounds like I'm minimizing that pain. I know how horrible that was. But the pain from here gets much, much worse if you don't wake up. Coming up at the third hour of this broadcast, we're going to show you the connections in the mosque. Because what you're getting lies on the mosque as well. Also, you are going to, we have to address the welfare issue. This president says the best way to create jobs, the best thing for the economy, is to put people on welfare. I mean, how many times have we heard that?
Many.
Many times.
Yeah, in fact, they just told us, was it a month or two ago, that for every $1 they spent in food stamps, they get $2 back.
Well,
Remember that?
I would imagine that's true. How much money have we now spent on terrorist investigations? How many,
Yes.
how
It's
many
really
pressure
paid.
cookers did we sell?
Paying
And are they
dividends.
married? And are they made in America? Tamberlin was on welfare, so you were paying for him to do the things that he did. The marathon bombings mastermind, Tamerlan Tesarnev, was living on taxpayer-funded state welfare benefits, even as he was delving deep into the world of radical anti-American Islamism. This, according to the Boston Herald. I don't know if we were paying for his high-speed internet, too,
Well, you had to have that.
or if he had a phone from the president. State officials confirmed last night that he was receiving benefits along with his wife and their 3-year-old daughter. The State Executive Office of Health and Human Services says those benefits ended in 2012 when the couple stopped meeting income ineligibility limits. His attorney said that Catherine, his wife, who'd converted to Islam, was working up to 80 hours a week as a home health aide while he stayed home. Now, he is such a good guy, isn't he? That's fantastic. So we have developed a state that dismisses terrorists. Yesterday, she also told Lindsey Graham, and let's give credit where credit is due, Lindsey Graham is running for re-election. And so he asked a really good, tough question yesterday. But let's give him credit for asking. He said, how did you miss this guy? Because Russians said they warned us about him multiple times. Multiple times they warned the United States. The Secretary of Homeland Security yesterday said that the radar was pinged when he left the country and went over to the Soviet Union. So you had a foreign agency warn you about him. You had already interviewed. You said to us that you didn't know that he left the country because there was somebody misspelled his name or something like that. There might have been 2 of them. Not really sure. So that's your first excuse, and then you testify because now the story is changing because she knows she's perjured herself already. So now she goes in front of Congress and has to answer a few questions, and now she says, well, yes, we were pinged. We were pinged. You were pinged? You just said you didn't know. Well, we did know. Well, then why didn't you do anything about it? Why didn't... Well, let's talk about the immigration bill, shall we?
Then didn't you just say that there wasn't anything negative on either of these guys? Didn't you just say that? There was nothing negative on any of them. They were both listed as choir boys. They sing in the Vienna Boys Choir.
If you guys are trying to do Napolitano, your voice is too high. It's ridiculous.
All right. All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's better.
Okay. Well, you'll see if there was anything on them at the top of next hour. Oh, I'll be waiting with bated breath. I hope so. And I'll wear something low-cut and lacy.
Please don't. Please don't.